So welcome back guys. Today we are going to we are going to create a VPC and let's see how we can create a VPC in the AWS management console, and basically how we can create a private subnet, a public subnet, how we can give the internet connectivity. All those things we would be discussing in the today's lecture. Okay, so let's start with creating a VPC. So what we would be doing is that I'm already logged into my AWS management console. So I will just search VPC here. Okay, so after searching VPC, there would be a default VPC. As soon as you create your account, we have already discussed this in our theory lecture that as soon as we create an account in the management console, automatically a default VPC is created. So see here, a default VPC for me is created. So this is the default VPC, but I don't want a default VPC. I would be creating a custom VPC for you guys. So you just need to click on this create VPC. Okay, so first of all, you need to give some name. So since I'm creating this VPC in Mumbai, let me just give Mumbai VPC as as the name. Okay, so now this is asking me for IP version 4 CIDR block. We have already discussed this in the theory lecture. If you have not seen and if you are not able to understand, or you have directly moved to the lab, I request you to just check my old lectures. There you will be able to find what exactly is IP version 4 and the complete concepts about VPC. So here let's put 10.0.0/16. Okay. So what this 16 does is basically it gives 8 bits to the network, and this 2 bits we can actually use. Okay. So if we let's say write 10.1.0.0, so it would be a different IP. So to actually save the IP addresses, okay, because we have very restricted IP version 4 addresses, so to save those addresses, we use basically CIDR, which is classless inter-domain routing. Tenancy is you can keep it default or you can keep it dedicated. What is the tenancy in this particular case? So tenancy is basically the dedicated resources. Let's say if you're using a router, a dedicated router would be given to you. If you're using any kind of resource, a dedicated resource would be used. Okay, so if you are using dedicated, your prices or the amount which you need to pay to AWS will would be increased drastically. So you have to think before using a dedicated tenancy. For now, for this particular lab, we would be just keeping it a default. Okay, I'm not putting any tag. If you want, you can just put any. Let me put my name, or if you want any key here, you can basically put a key. Okay, so my VPC is created. Okay, so I have created my VPC. Let me just create this for you guys. Okay, so what I have done is I have my AWS account. In that particular AWS account, I have created the VPC, and the IP of my VPC is 16. Okay. Now inside this VPC, we would be creating two subnets. Okay. So we would be creating two subnets. One subnet would be the public subnet, and another subnet would be the private subnet. Okay, let's do it. Let me again come back to the lab. Now, after creating the VPC, let's go and these are the default subnets which are created with your default VPC. So let's ignore them for now and let's create a VPC. Here it will ask you to select your VPC. Just make sure that you are not selecting your default VPC. Just select this particular VPC here. Okay, so this VPC we have created just now, or actually we can give a particular name here. So let me just click on your VPC and just let me just give a name to my VPC which I have created just now. Okay, so Mumbai VPC. Okay. Yeah, so I've given the name. Let me just go to subnets and let me just create a subnet. Okay, so here Mumbai VPC is showing. So let's click on this Mumbai VPC. The IP version 4 is this. Okay, now let me put it as a, let me create a public subnet here. Okay, now availability zone, I'm not putting any zone here. Will you just avoid using AP South 1C. You can use 1A and 1B because 1C has some technical issues each and every time. So just try to use AP if you're using if you are basically using Mumbai. In that particular case, try to use AP South 1A or 1B. So here let's use South 1A. So let me just show you which kind of IP addresses it does not accept. Okay, so we have actually used this particular IP address. Let's see if this particular IP address is accepted or not. So we are basically be able to create. So in this case, we are basically be able to create the VPC. Okay, so the VPC IP address was 10.0.0.0/16, and here also the subnet we are able to create. So how what actually happened in this case? In this particular case, the subnet was given the same IP address for which what was basically given to your VPC. So guys, you need to remember this thing. Now you cannot create any more subnets. Okay, so if you are giving an IP address which is same as your subnet, in that particular case, if you want to create any more subnets, you cannot create it because you have to ensure that your subnets which you are creating or the IP addresses which you are giving, it should be in the same CIDR range. Okay, now since you have used for a particular subnet, you have used the same IP address. So how will it now if you're creating a new subnet, you why how will you able to create it? Because it would actually the subnet which you are given, and if you are creating different, it need to have two separate IP addresses. But here in this particular case, it would be every time it would be same only. If you try to create one more subnet, let's say, okay, so let me just create any subnet. Okay, let me just put a private subnet here. Okay, and let me just put any IP address. So this was the IP address which we gave, and here let's say let's put the 16 and let's put one here, and let me just click on. So what it shows is basically CIDR overlaps with the existing. Okay, and let me just put 0 here, or let's keep one here, and let me just put this here. Now what it will say is basically it is not within your CIDR address. So so if we are using the same IP address, or if we are using the same CIDR range, in that particular case you won't be able to create another subnets. Okay, so most of the teachers won't be telling you all these things, but I'm actually covering this particular topic specifically for you so that you guys are able to understand, and you are able to understand what happens in the real time as well. Okay, so let me just click on create a subnet here. Let me just click here. Okay, so let me write public subnet. Okay, let me just scroll down and let me just choose any availability zone. So here I would be putting, let's me put 24, or what I can do is I can just put one here. Okay, so no, we have to okay, so basically what we are doing is 24 bits we are giving to our particular to 24 bits we are now giving to our subnet. So we can actually keep it like this also. Okay, so we can actually keep it like this also, and for next we can actually create it like 10.0.1.0/24. So this we can do it. But although what else you can do is basically you can actually put one here, and in another case we can use actually 10.0.1.1. Okay, so we can actually do it. So let me just create a subnet. It won't make a difference. Okay, so now let me create one more subnet. So it would be a private subnet. Okay, so let me just put it here, and okay, so let me put one here. So it would be a unique, but this would be inside your VPC, because in the VPC we have used 16. So here two was allocated to network and two were given to us. But here we have used 24. So here it would be like a different subnet. So both the subnets have a different IP address, but they would both be inside a particular there would be the CID, the IP address range is within the VPC. Okay. So I have created both. So let me just scroll down. Okay. Yes. So I have created a public and the private subnet. Now, after creating public and the private subnet, you need to create internet gateway. So let's go and create an internet gateway. This is by default. Let's create an internet gateway. So let me just create internet gateway. IGW is internet gateway. Okay, let's create it. Now, after creating an internet gateway, in the top it will say you that you need to attach this internet gateway to a VPC. So let me just attach this particular gateway to a VPC. Now, you might be thinking that for a single VPC, can we connect two internet gateways, guys? We cannot connect two internet gateways. There would be for a particular VPC, there would be only one internet gateway. You just create an internet gateway. So let's put another internet gateway here and let's create an internet gateway. If you try to attach it, you will see this particular error which says that you don't have any VPC. You need a VPC in order to attach, because we for my old like this particular internet gateway for Mumbai IGW, I've already attached to my Mumbai VPC. This I've already done. Okay, so let's go to the route table. Now we have to create the route table. Okay, so let's do one thing. Yeah, so here we have used 10.0/24, and here we have used 10.0.1.0/24. So basically how in this how it will go is 10.0.0.1, 10.0.0.2, 10.0.0.3, such like this the resources which we are creating in subnets would be allocated, and here it would be 10.0.1.1, 10.0.1.2 up to 255. So this is how you can actually you would be doing. So here what we would be doing is now let's do one thing. We have created an internet gateway. So this is the internet gateway. Okay, so let's give the route, basically the routing. Let's create the routing table. So what we would be doing is basically, so what we would be doing is for the public subnet. Okay, so for the public subnet we would be, the target would be, so first of all it would be, target would be the VPC. Okay. Okay, so target here the IP will come and another target would be internet. So the here IP would be there and the target would be there. Okay, so here the target would be internet, and when we create in the private subnet, the route table would be basically IP and the target, and here the target would be again your VPC and the IP address of your VPC. That's it. So we would be creating a routing table and give it the instructions, and whatever traffic would be coming, how it need to divide that particular traffic. So here we are not giving any internet connectivity, so here it would be no internet, and in this particular case there would be an internet, so we want to give the internet connectivity. Okay, fine. So let's again come back. Let's create a route table. So let me just create a private route table. Okay, the VPC would be Mumbai VPC. Okay, so we have created one of the route tables is created. Let me just create it for public as well. Okay. Okay, so both the tables are created which says public route table and the private route table. Okay, so basically now if you what you need to do is you need to select that particular route table, go to the route. Okay, here you when you scroll down you will find that 10.0.0 which is an IP, the IP address which we have given to our VPC. Now we need to add internet gateway, so we would be adding the internet gateway. So just write internet. So here you will find the internet gateway. Automatically at the bottom this will come. Just select that particular internet gateway. Automatically it would be selected and just create it. Now you have, what we have done is we have the public route table. We have given the route. Okay, so one is internet routing we have done, and another one is targeted to our VPC. So let's do a subnet. So we have to connect the subnet to this particular router. So let's connect a subnet as well. So let's click on edit subnet association and public, save association. So we have connected our subnet as well. So we have connected our public subnet. Okay. So we see if we click there, we would be redirected to the public subnet. So it's fine. We have done it correctly. Now let's go to the private router. Here again, what you need to do is you need to click on the routes. Okay, here since it's a private, we don't have to make any kind of changes for now. Let's go to the subnet association and click on edit subnet association. Just add your private router. Okay, so private router has been connected to my private subnet. Perfectly fine. My VPC, I have created my VPC and connected and basically have connected it with the router, and router is connected to this. Okay, and router is via router. There would be connection to this as well. Okay, but for a person from an internet won't be able to access the private subnet. He would be only accessing the public subnet because we have not given any connectivity for my private subnet. Okay, so let's again come back. Okay, so let's create an EC2 machine. Okay, let me launch an instance. Okay, so let me just work on Windows, and I will also try to cover the same lab in Linux as well, Linux machine as well. Just configure it. Now here the network, you need to select your Mumbai VPC, your subnet. Since I am creating my public subnet first, so I'm just selecting my public. Auto assign public IP. Whenever you give your public IP, it means that you are giving internet connection. So you just enable it, which ensures that this particular EC2 machine have the internet connectivity. Add the storage. So we don't have to make any kind of changes here. So I need to access via RDB. Okay, if I want to give the internet connectivity, I can also approve this particular rule so that it would be easier for me to actually connect with the internet. So I'm giving the security group, if somebody is actually coming and trying to access this EC2 machines from the internet, the security group won't be stopping that particular traffic, and it would be allowed to access the EC2 machines. Perfectly fine, and let me just launch it. So let me just create a new pair, and let me just create it with my name only, and click on, you can actually click on this download key pair and launch the instance. Okay, so let's go and view our instance. So this is the instance which is getting created. So let me just write private. Okay, sorry, this is public Mumbai. Okay, so public Mumbai is getting created. Meanwhile, let's create a private subnet as well. Okay, so I would be selecting Windows 2012, and let's select it here. Let me just configure the instance and the network. Let me select my Mumbai VPC. The subnet would be the private subnet here, and let me disable the IP. So I'm not giving the internet connectivity to this particular machine here. Okay, I would be just let me just put HTTP and HTTPS. I'm not giving internet connectivity, but I'm actually, if I'm actually allowing it because I would be showing you how you can actually connect both these subnets. Okay, so how can you connect your public subnet, and how can you access your public subnet from the private subnet. So this I would be covering as well. So that's the reason we have to give the internet connectivity, HTTP and HTTP access in the internet connect in the security groups. Let me review and launch it, and let me launch it here. So I would be using the same key pair. Okay. So here I have created. Okay, so this is pending. Let me just write it. So it would be private Mumbai So I have created two subnets. One is again a private one, another was public. So in public I have created one EC2 machine which is with the name public Mumbai. In another one I have created with the private Mumbai. Let me save it for you. So both of them I have done. So let me just connect it with my rdb access. Okay, so let me just go and just download the remote desktop file. You can just click on this get password. It will ask you to copy paste the password. I've already kept it in the new browser, new tab basically. Let me just decrypt it. Okay, now, let me just copy this particular password, and what I would be doing is I would be just selecting and opening this particular remote desktop. So with this, I would be basically accessing my remote desktop protocol. Okay, let it open. So guys, I am currently at my VPC. So this is my public VPC. It's still loading. So it's fine. So I'm currently in my VPC. So I have to, with the RDB, I was able to log in, okay, in my public VPC. Okay, so let's see if this is public or not. Okay, so let me just again come back. Here it shows your public IP. That is actually more than enough, 15.206.91.204. If it is not, if it won't be a public subnet or the public EC2 machine in that particular case, then we would have not received the public IP address. But still, for your understanding, let me just open CMD command prompt and let's ping a website. Let's ping google.com. So we are getting replies from google.com, or you can say ping 8.8.8. So this is the IP address for Google. So if we say we are getting replies, otherwise it would be have been a timeout in some another case. So it's perfectly out, perfectly fine. So now we have already created a public EC2 machine, and now we would need to access the private. So how will we access? We don't have any public IP address. How we would be able to access the private EC2 machine in that particular case? So we would be accessing the private EC2 machine with the help of uh, this public EC2 machine which we have created. So we would be actually logged in. We would be trying to log in our private EC2 machine when we are basically inside our public EC2 machine. So what we would be doing is we would be just writing RDB or remote desktop protocol. Okay, so let me just write remote desktop connection. So here, okay. So what it would be asking me is basically it is asking me to write the computer name. So here, when I click on my private Mumbai, I have my private IP address. Okay, so let me just copy this. So now it is asking me for my credentials. So and guys, if you are facing the issues, like if you're thinking that if we are able to create, can we actually use RDB from our desktop? Okay, so we can actually write remote desktop connection here, and if we can even can we connect it via this? No, you won't be able to connect it. Let me just show it to you. You won't be able to do it. Okay, so I'm currently at my desktop. Okay, so meanwhile, let me just encrypt the password as well. So private. So you need to go to RDB and get the password. Okay, so what's the okay? So remote desktop can be connected to remote computers for one of the reason, because actually it's a private IP, so we cannot actually connect it like that. Okay, so let me just copy this and let me again come back to my public machine which I have created. So let me just put the password here. Let me So here see 15.206 and okay. So if you look at it, the 10 point, so 15 is basically my the public IP of my public EC2 machine, and here 10.1.250 is basically the private IP. With the private IP, we are basically able to access our machine. Okay, so it's a machine inside a machine. Okay. Now we have not. Let's see if we since we have not given the internet connectivity. Let's see if there is an internet connectivity in our EC2. This particular EC2, the private EC2 machine. So just go here and just write CMD. Okay, let's go to the command prompt. Okay. So see, in this particular case also only private IP address is there. Okay, so in the here private IP address is only there. There is no public IP. So let me just pick. Okay, so it will show the connection timeout error. So request timeout error is there. So yeah, with this particular thing, we won't be able to connect to this particular. We cannot actually connect this particular machine with our with the internet. But still, if we let's say if you have to connect it for any particular reason, you have to connect it. We have already discussed this in our lecture. So in that particular case, you have to use a NAT gateway. So what you would be putting is you would be putting a NAT gateway here. Okay, and this particular NAT gateway, you have to put this particular NAT gateway inside public subnet. Okay, so you have to put this particular NAT gateway inside the public subnet, and this particular in the let's say in the routing table here. Okay, in the routing table, just give me a second, guys. So in the routing table, you would be updating your NAT gateway, the elastic IP which you will get when you create a NAT gateway. You have to use that, and here you have to put your elastic IP and target need to be your NAT gateway. So what it is doing is basically it gives the internet connectivity to your private subnet, and you can actually, with the help of the NAT gateway, you can actually define your public and the let's say your inbounds and outbound rules basically. So it is highly secured whenever it's not the private subnet is not directly exposed via your internet gateway. So if someone wants to access the this particular private subnet, the only way is to access via net gateway, and that particular net gateway is basically present in the public subnet, and that too a net gateway has its own elastic IP, has its own securities, all those things a net gateway has. So the hacker or somebody who wants to hack your machine won't be directly be able to enter inside your machine. Okay, so let's again come back and let's create a NAT gateway. Let's again go to VPC. So here you will find a NAT gateway. So this another this old some old NAT gateway which I have created earlier. It's already deleted. So you need to create a NAT gateway here. Okay. Subnet would be I have to put it in my private subnet. Perfectly. I just want a public connectivity. I have my IP address. If you don't have your elastic IP, you can actually click here at allocate elastic IP. In that case, you the elastic IP would be allocated. You need to delete your elastic IP as soon as your lab is completed. Otherwise, you need to pay for your elastic IP, guys. You need to pay to use your elastic IP. So just create a net gateway. So this will take some time to actually create a net gateway. So meanwhile, let's go to the route tables, and in the private route table, let's go to routes, and here let's edit the routes. Here add route. Okay, so let's connect it to the NAT gateway. Okay, so here I have connected to the NAT gateway, and let me just save the changes. So fine, perfectly fine. My NAT gateway is still pending. So what I have done all the processes, I have created a NAT gateway, connected that particular NAT gateway, and give in the routing table I have given the instructions. Okay, NAT gateway need to be, we have created a NAT gateway, and this NAT gateway would be kept in the public subnet. Okay, so these are the something we need to remember. So my NAT gateway is now available. Okay, so guys, it took me around 4 to 5 minutes to actually get this status from pending to available. So you have to wait for that particular time. Meanwhile, let's see what happens to our machine. So Okay, still it is showing request timeout. So let's use CMD again. Okay, so again let's ping 8.8.8. So now it is base. Let's see if we are getting any response. So again it's timed out. So let's see what actually the error it's been we have done. So let's minimize it. So we have created the NAT gateway perfectly fine. Okay, so we have, let's go to the route table and let's see if the routing is done perfectly or not. Okay, so the routes, let's go and check. So it's been connected, it's working properly. Okay, so subnet associations are also done properly. So let's see, let's go again and let's see what actually is happening. Okay, so guys, I have got the error basically by mistake. What I have done is I have created this subnet. Okay, sorry, net gateway in private subnet only. So that's the reason why we were getting this particular error. So you can actually see when we click here, it gives us the private IP address and the subnet is private subnet. So we have to keep the net gateway inside a public subnet. So let's delete this net gateway. Okay, so meanwhile it's getting deleted. Let's create a new net gateway. Okay, and we have to use the public subnet and let's assign the same IP address. So it's being currently it's getting deleted after 5-10 minutes. The IP address would again be would be displayed here. So let me just allocate a new IP address. Okay, so I will be deleting it later on. It's perfectly fine. Okay, so I have created the NAT gateway here. Now, meanwhile, it's getting created. Let's again go to the route table. Okay, so go to the routes here, go to edit route here. So let me just delete it and let's delete it and let's select it. Okay, let's save the changes. Okay, I have only selected the previous one only. So let me just select it and let me just save the changes. Okay, so let me just click here and see it's activated. Fine, perfectly fine. It's working fine. Let me just go to the NAT gateway. It's in the pending state. Let's wait for it to get started and get activated. So still it's in the pending. Okay, so let's see. Here still it is showing the timeout, request timeout. Okay, so let's wait for it to get approved. Okay, so as soon as this is available, you will see. Okay, it was showing available. So let's see. Okay, we have started getting replies now. Okay, so with the help of Net Gateway, we have actually given the internet connectivity to my private subnet. Okay, so that's all for the VPC, and we what we have seen is how we can actually create a VPC, how we can create a private and the public subnet, how we can actually give the internet connectivity to the net gateway. So that's all for today. You need to then delete your net gateway, whatever you have created. You just go and you need to delete whatever lab you have done. Then also you need to ensure that you need to delete your elastic IP. Otherwise, there would be some charges which you need to pay. So what you can do is you can actually go and delete the IPs. After your net gateways are deleted, you can actually go and delete your IP addresses. So that's all for today. Thank you. And do subscribe my channel.